lot of places, and logic is not always the
Because I mean, being independent sounds like it can be
I'm very
the opposite
accountable.
of being compatible with a man. Because if you're independent, then why do you need me?
You know what I'm saying? So it's not meant for me to tell you. Sometimes God gotta let you go through this certain experience
It makes
for you
them
to learn
stronger.
from that certain situation. Yeah.
It makes them stronger. It's not always what don't kill you just make you stronger. You become resistant, and that's really what they need. But that's why you set them up the way that you need to. At the end of the day, you do have some people that just learn the hard way. Unfortunately, I mean, I was one of those kids too. You know, my mom used to tell me when I had my first kid, she said, God gonna teach you. Watch, you're gonna have all girls and they gonna give you double what you gave me. And I was like, whatever. I had my first kid, it was a girl. So all right. That was just, you know, whatever. Then I had my second one, it was a girl. I said, oh no. Then I was like, all right, this is still cool. Then I had my third one, I was like, all right now. Slow down. No more. I got the lesson, please. But you gotta, sometimes life does just have to teach you, and it's a growing, it's almost like a growing pain for both, for parents and for the child. My kids are still, I mean, 19, 16, my oldest girls mostly. My 13-year-old creeping up there, and she didn't get there quite yet, but my oldest two, they figuring it out and they learning it, and they not, you know, maneuvering themselves horribly, but they're hitting some bumps that they just have to learn. That I can't give them the lesson. I can't. As much as I try to shield them.
Relationships,
all that stuff.
That's hard. Like I can't tell
First
you
of all,
how this person might not feel what you feel, or why you might feel this way. You know what I mean? I can't. That part I can't control. I wish I could be like, okay, this is the person for you. This is, if I can create the man I want my daughter to be with, I would.
But would that be the person that your daughter wants to be with?
No, never.
You creating daddy's image.
You're right.
You creating daddy's image, and even though
you're right, and that part, that's being narcissistic. I can't be like that.
But
we all got a little bit of it in us, though.
Keep in mind,
you want to control something.
Your daughter, if you are present and available when you're in your daughter's lives and you're active in your kids' lives, boy and girl, they will look for that. They will look for a man that's going to stand up to the standards that their dad stood up to. I can tell you that for a fact, because I do the same as a grown woman. I do the same thing. I look for what I saw my dad do. I look for, and I know, you know, I'm not oblivious. I know my dad was doing what he wanted to do. My dad was a real OG. Like, you know, nobody knew what he was doing until he died, and everybody showed up to the funeral and all that. The girls was around. Right. But that's what I look for. You know, my dad was very spot on when it came to family time. Whatever he was doing outside was what he was doing outside. It wasn't brought home. So you knew when he walked in that house at 7:30, 8 o'clock, that was it. Don't text his phone, don't call his phone, because I'm not home with my family. This is my time for my family. If he came to a show or he came to whatever, you know, they knew this is my family time. So you don't hold no weight here. You not finna page me or call me or text me or nothing, because you're not getting a response. You understand? So me growing up, no, I don't want a man that's gonna have multiple women. My dad did, but no, I don't want that. But I want the man that's gonna make sure that this is my family time. That's separated from my family, so you can't have that time. Don't text me after such and such. Understand and know your place. You understand? You don't come before my wife, my kids, my household, or nothing. No, I'm not taking care of your household before I take care of mine. At the end of the day, this is my foundation right here, and my foundation needs to be taken care of first. So I've always looked for that. Just as an adult, in my own relationships, in my own, you know, encounters with men or whatever the case may be. It just so happens though that growing up with a lot of women, you know, my dad died when I was really young, so it was all strong women. It was just women. We took care of everything. Like, the women set the foundation, the women built the empire, the women cooked, the women cleaned, the women did this, did that. That's how my mother was, you know, even to the day she died. Like, she literally died with her eyes open. Being nosy.
Women don't like that though.
Because it's built.
They're real strong-headed like that.
Well, it's instilled in us that way. You can't just be sitting around doing nothing, you know. But again, having children young too, having to making my own family, I had to be able to take care of my household. I had to be able to take care of my husband. I was young, but I still had to be able to do those things. That's what was required of me, and I needed to be able to do them. The one thing that I never wanted to do was to not be fulfilling my job or my responsibility as a mother, as a wife. You understand? I didn't want to do that. There were a lot of things that I could not be good at, but not being a good wife and not being a good mother is not a part of those. Even now, it's still not a part of that for me. It's just, you know, maybe that's something would be in my head, but that's not an option for me.
Right.
So it just depends. I mean,
I like that you still, because a lot of women, and that I feel like that's a mental thing too. Like women have been programmed from the 70s, let's say the 70s, 80s, when they was getting the men out of the household. Let's move the men out of the household.
Take care of yourself.
Take care of yourself. We gonna help you. The government system, we gonna help you. We gonna help you out. We gonna give you everything you do. We gonna give you everything you need. Now let's get this women's rights movement going. You know, let's get all this going.
Come on, women's rights movement.
And I'm not saying y'all out. But listen, what I'm saying. It changed the dynamic of how women look at the black man. You know what I'm saying? It's like, damn, they forgot that this is my king. Even though I'm an independent woman, and it's like, okay, the men going to prison because they start taking the jobs, they start moving all the factories, and all the jobs was moving around, and you know what I mean? The men didn't have it. Then here come the crack cocaine game. You know what I'm saying? Now, we can make some money off this. So now men, they trying to find a way to get up out this rut that they in. They start hustling. Some of them go to prison for I don't know how many years. Football numbers, and they never come home. So the woman got to stay home with the kids. And she got to do that. So when the man come home, I did all this by myself. But they forgetting that the system played a big part in the man not even being shit.
It still does.
It does.
To this day. You know what I'm saying?
Welfare, food stamps. Right. The women are married more to the government than to the men.
You see what I'm saying?
It all plays a role. But here's my thought about that as a woman, right? Because y'all not fitting to talk. And now, that the king theory of it, right? I think people forget when men put themselves in a placement and say, I am your king and you are my queen, you have to hold yourself to the same standard that you hold your queen to.
Right.
Because she is a product of you.
Right.
Literally. So if what you give to your queen is what she's always gonna give back to you. She's gonna duplicate it. You bring home food, she gonna make you a meal. You lay in the bed, you exchange whatever, she gonna give you a baby, right? You give her a home, she give her a house with all this other stuff, she gonna turn it into a home for you. But if you bring her chaos, she gonna give you crazy. You give her reason to not trust you, she gonna bring you crazy.
Yeah.
You understand? So whatever it is that you want to get out of your relationship, you need to be putting that into it. You can't say I want a wife that's gonna be, you know, a submissive to me and this and that, but you running and kicking and this, that with the third. You can't do that because how you make her feel is what's most important.
That's facts.
When you make her feel like she's this little, she becomes that little for real. And men forget that. You know, it's like, no, but I do this, I do that. At the end of the day, you can do all of that, but if you don't see me and you can't realize that I'm literally diminishing into nothing because of you and what you're doing and your actions and your words and your behaviors, then really you don't see me. How can I be your queen when you make me feel this big?
That's true.
How can I be your queen and produce things for you and make a home for us where you can come home and be happy and have a healthy relationship or have a happy family when you out all the time? I don't have nobody to talk to. I'm here with my kids all the time, or I'm just going to work and coming home doing the same thing every day. What happens to the companionship? What happened to the friendship? What happened to all that stuff you did when you wanted to get your queen? What happened to all of that? And then y'all forget, y'all got mamas and daughters. How would you feel if a man was doing that to your mama or to your daughter? You be all hell be ready to break loose, right or wrong.
Right.
We forget that when you within yourself. It's like, no, but I'm not that person. You forget that. So you need to hold yourself to that same standard that you holding that queen to. You need to be holding yourself to that same standard and above that. She's only gonna reciprocate what you're giving her. So if you're giving her grief and heartache and pain and nonsense, that's exactly it. She hold it until she can't hold it no more. Her servant said, okay, time to go. And what happened? Your home is broken, your marriage is broken, your kids is traumatized, y'all kids is in separate house. I'm going to mama's house and daddy's house every other weekend. We can't do family things together. Now your kids, what happened to your kids? PTSD. Why? My mom and my daddy fighting all the time. We can't talk. They can't even come to my school show.
They start to think that's healthy.
And then they do the same thing. Generational curses. That's how they start. It starts from in your household.
Yeah, that's what starts in home.
Sometimes you can be that king to that woman, but if she hasn't healed her past trauma, she can carry that over into your relationship.
Absolutely.
And treat you off of the triggers that she had from the last dude.
Absolutely.
You might be like, I'm working late tonight. That might have been a trigger from the last dude. That's when he was cheating. But you really might be working. You're like, why is she tripping?
But
I ain't did nothing to her.
What happens to communication? You have to remember, in a relationship, you are a student of your partner. You understand?
Ooh, I like that.
You're a student of your partner. She's a student of you, and you're a student of her. So she's learning what you like, what you don't like, what's a trigger for you, what's not a trigger for you, and you're doing the same. When you get with a female or man that's broken or has past trauma issues, your job as their partner is to be understanding and to figure it out. So if you know this triggers her, all right, I have to do this, but I know that this is a trigger for you. So what can I do to make this easier for you? What do I need to do?
I like that.
What do I need to do? When you're in an argument, same thing, vice versa. When you're in an argument and you, take a minute. Hold on 1 second. What did you say? Tell me what you said so I can tell you what I heard. Because that's what, if you may not have said none of what she heard.
Something totally different than what man.
If she upset.
This is the thing, like where it all breaks down to it like this, it's like the trauma from whatever you've been through in your past and the trauma from whatever she's been through in her past. Even though y'all might be maintaining that trauma or keeping it at a balance, sometimes certain things can trigger and bring it back.
Absolutely.
But the thing is, if you want to teach, you have to be teachable too.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? That's why we did the episode in the very beginning. Our first episode was why it's important for men to compromise and women to submit. A man, okay, I go out. I live by myself. I'm single. I ain't got no relationship right now, so I'm going out 5 days a week partying with my homies. Now I'm in a relationship. I got to break that 5 days down to 2 or 3.
Absolutely.
And give time to her too. And then a woman, she gonna be willing to submit if you compromising with certain things with her as well.
So y'all use compromise. See, this is
we have to, because this is the thing.
You use compromise for a man and use the word submit for a woman.
But see,
and this is where.
See, I already know what you're going.
The division is, you understand? It's submitting both ways. Right. It's submitting both ways. You as a man are submitting yourself to her, and you're showing her that I'm willing to do this for you. I'm going to do this for you, and in return, I want this to be reciprocated. So it's submission on both ends. It doesn't demasculate you, nor that you understand. But when you want me to be submissive, right? Are you doing everything to make sure that I can be and I can live in my femininity? Because that's what you're asking me. Let go of all of these things where you, you doing this and you taking care of this and you in control and you this, you that. Are you taking care of those things so that I can live in my femininity? Because if you're not, then you can't ask me to submit and to be a submissive. You can't. If you can't handle yours, and I have to constantly pick up the pieces, then you can't ask me to do that. Now, when we can do these things together, right? A lot of men, and I know it's a men thing, I personally feel like men and women, marriage is never 50-50. It's never. Some days I got 20% and he got 80. Some days I got 80 and he got 20. You really just have to know who your partner is and be able to read body language and tone and everything. And it does get caught up. Yeah, it do get caught up in there somewhere. Right. But if we're gonna do it together, it's a team. Granted, you the man, you the king, you gotta hold, you gotta be the leader in your household. But part of being a leader is being able to say, I need help. And men can't do that. A lot of men can't do that or don't want to do that because it's a pride thing, I'm supposed to take care of my household. I'm supposed to take care of my wife. I'm supposed to take care of my kids. I'm supposed to be financially responsible for everything. Absolutely. But at the end of the day, when you fall, is it not my job to make sure that I'm there to cushion you, to cushion your fall, or to pick you up, or to heal you? Is it not my job to lick your wounds and make sure that you're good and I nurse you back to good health? So if you're not allowing me to do that, you understand?
I think, but I talked about it a lot of times before that, a good woman gonna always be the one that motivate that man. You know what I'm saying? Because like we talked about that, and actually, I think actually in the first episode as well, where I was talking about how like sometimes that woman, it might be a certain goal that you're trying to set, but having that right woman behind you. You might have that goal set in 5 years. That right woman behind you, you'll get that goal set in 2 years.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? It's just something about the way that woman like strokes that man's ego, the way she, she speaks positive affirmations into that man. Like it's certain things.
They got tore down by the world. I'm trying to come home and get rebuilt. You know what I'm saying? I want to come home and get tore down some more.
Right.
But if that's what you pouring into your household and that's what you pouring into your partner, that's what she's gonna reciprocate. You understand? So it really
like she can't just have that on her own.
She can have some of that. But how this intensifies, it is a reflection. She is a reflection of you and you're a reflection of her.
Mirror image, bro.
That's always, the woman's created in a man's, right? In a man's image. Mm-hmm. That's how we were created. That's how God created us, right. Period. So you have to always keep that, and men forget that, and they don't hold on to that. They just, well, no, I didn't do that. She was already broken, messed up. Mm-hmm. Okay, but you done got with this girl knowing that she was broken and messed up. What are you doing to fix it? Are you laying a blanket down for her and saying, hey, let me come rub your back. Let me make this just that much easier for you. I know this is hard for you. And, just crossing over this bridge is hard. Let me hold your hand and we do it together. A lot of times we have an expectation, right? And when we can't meet each other's expectation, that's what causes heartache and anger and upset and disappointment. Right. So what we need to do, what I find I do anyway, I try to meet people where they are versus where I expect them to be. Right. In my relationship especially, I try to meet my partner where he is so that we can get to where I want to be together. And the same thing vice versa. You know what I mean? Especially, for me with the age difference, it's a big age difference, right? It's a little bit different. So I'm learning a lot of things. I'm messing up a lot of stuff. I'm learning a lot of stuff. I'm messing up a lot of stuff because nothing is perfect. But just being steadfast and trying to not only submit, because obviously I'm super independent. I want to do my own thing all the time. Mm-hmm. But being able to just let him lead our family, whether I agree or I don't agree with it. Sometimes we have to agree to disagree, and I have to let him do whatever it is that he needs to be doing. But being patient and being understanding and trying to just understand that everything is temporary. It's not gonna be that way always, and it's not all peaches and cream. It's a lot of laughter and it's a lot of fun and it's a lot of stuff, but there's a lot of tears too. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of emotional stuff that goes on. Why? Because he come with baggage and I come with baggage. Mm-hmm. He on one level, I'm on another level. He comes from one era and I'm from a whole nother era. Right. You understand? He has his children, I have my children, but at the end of the day, if we can just, even if it's just 10%, I'll take the 10%, 10% versus me giving 90 and him giving 10, or vice versa. Yeah, right. You understand? Being able to kind of balance each other and know that, look, like, okay, I know you had a rough day, so this or that. But again, it's not always peaches and cream. It's not always great. And sometimes you're ready to be like, forget this. I can't tell you how many times I've said, forget this.
Saying that though, like, cause when you think about it though, you know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta think about like that person's mental state when they're coming to you.
Right.
And when you meeting with them in the middle or whatever, what is their mental, what were their traumas? What did they go through before y'all even met in the middle?
And see, that's the important thing she said earlier was the communication. No one's finding out those things in the beginning now. No. In this generation, we meeting, sleeping together, and we find out year 2 or 3, damn, your daddy wasn't really there like that. Now you already deep, you got a kid, you know what I'm saying? So you don't even know. You ain't ask none of these questions.
What they said, what's your credit score, where you live at?
That's so true, bro.
We just meeting up on Facebook or wherever we meet at.
But that's because of that's because of the expectation. We go into whatever it is with an expectation. Even if we meeting and we just bumping and grinding, you going in expecting that bump and grind is gonna be great.
Right.
Yeah. You don't know. Yeah. You don't know me, I don't know you. We just, you understand? The expectation, right?
But I like that, the way you broke that down and how you're breaking it down, just and how it applies to like just, 2 people really having that type of understanding, because we live in a world now where like most people don't have no understanding unless it's their way.
They don't want the understanding though, because everybody's like, this is my way of thinking. If you ain't on this track, a lot of people bullheaded. You can't tell me nothing. My mama can't tell me nothing.
It does.
So like, how do you want me to lead you if you don't listen to nobody? Are you leadable?
That's true.
You know what I'm saying? Social media killing a lot of stuff too. With
memes on TikTok. TikTok relationship advice.
The man I get we gotta have this type of bag, and
it's too many comparisons.
I get we gotta have, but that
you looking at this Snapchat or something.
How you want me to bring this to the table
and you
don't even got it?
But see, here's the problem, right? For women, we've already established that we're independent and we're doing our own thing or whatever, but that's because that's where society put us. And not only does society put us there, but when we get into relationships, our men are not coming full force, especially our black men. They are not coming full force and coming to the table with what they present. They come to the table asking, well, what do you have to bring to the table?
Right.
When you're a king, you're not worried about what somebody else has to bring to the table. You're worried about what you bring to the table, and then have your queen add on to whatever it is that you bring forth. But you have to first show her. You understand? You have to be a representative of all that change and stuff you want to see, all that stuff. You have to be the first representative of that. And when you're not, your words are pointless and powerless without your actions behind it. And that's what, exactly. You have to always lead by example. And when you fall, you don't fail if you fall. You fail if you don't get back up.
Right.
If you fall and you give up, then what did you just teach your queen? Well, I'm finna mess up and do whatever, and oh well. So why would I let you lead me? Why would I let you lead our household when you can't do right and you constantly keep doing the same thing over and over and over and over and over? Why would I let you? You gotta show me that that's what you deserve. You understand? You have to exhibit that to me, because you can say it and it sounds great. And, you know, we all want to hear it. I'm a girl. I want to hear my man say nice things, and you know, it makes you feel good and whatever. But ultimately, what matters is what you put forward. You can say all that, but if you don't put it forward, that means nothing.
So the head that holds the crown.
So as a woman, do y'all feel like y'all are only feminine once the man is leading the way y'all want him to lead, or are you gonna be feminine anyway? That's good. Because I hear that a lot on Facebook, like, I'll be feminine if you lead in the right way.
Listen.
Shouldn't you already be tapped into that before that man even come along?
My opinion, I'm always going to be a woman before I'm anything else. I'm always going to tap into my femininity, period. If I'm with a man and I decide that this is where you need to be and this is who I want to be with, I'm going to step back and let you be that man. I'm never going to take that from you. Now, because of my independence and how strong I am, sometimes my mouth, y'all, I ain't going to lie, my mouth get me in a lot of trouble. It do, I ain't going to lie.
I see that a lot.
Well, a lot of us don't admit that, but
you're right. Because I mean, being independent sounds like it can be
I'm very
the opposite of being compatible with a man. Because if you're independent, then why do you need me?
But see, this is what you forget. It's not about needing you. I want you. I choose you. You're my choice. Every day I make a conscious decision to be with you, to want you, to love you, to crave you. You understand what I'm saying? To be in a relationship with you. I don't have to, and you don't have to. But the fact that I want to be, and the fact that I put the foot forward to do it, when you could be with anybody you want, I could be with whoever I want, but I choose to be with you. That should tell you something. As long as you're always my choice, that's all that matters.
Let me say something to that, Shantae, because I want to say this to all you punks out there. You know what I'm saying? I gotta say this, man, because you got a lot of men out here like, she do what I say, and I'm the man in the house. Let me tell you something. Let me tell y'all something, man. If a man got a woman submitting to her because she's in fear of him, that's not real submission. Real submission is if she submits to you because she wants to. That's when I feel like I'm at my chest out. I got my crown on. That's when I'm chest out. You feel me? That's when you know that whatever you're doing, and you're doing it the right way, bro. You know
See, I hear a lot of men be like, I'm leading the way that I think is right, but it ain't the way that she wanted me to lead.
Right.
So am I leading right or not the way you want to be led?
That's true.
That's
That's the woman that I go to.
That's the
what's important to her may not be important to her. You know what what I mean?
But that's always...
That's a good question, bro.
That's always in the eye of the beholder. You understand?
Yeah.
It depends on what understanding you have with that person. And sometimes it is us being able to step back into our femininity. She may not have been able to do that before. She may not, or she may have done it and got burned doing it. And so now she has this past trauma of, I don't know if I can do this because I have a fear of falling. I'm like that. I won't lie. It's very hard for me. First of all, I've never really, until the last few years, I've never really dated American black men. It just, for no important reason or bias against them, I just like the image of the American black man to be my image of what my daddy is. Right. So I never wanted to taint that image, you know, and getting into a relationship with an American black man and having them do things opposite or different from how my dad did it would taint that. Right. So I've always been, you know, whatever. Then I decided, okay, let me try this. You know, you can't help what your heart wants. You can't help who you like. You can't help who you love. It is what it is. Right. Everything happens for a reason. I have a really hard time, me personally, with my mouth. Like I said, my mouth gets me into a lot of trouble.
Is it like biting your tongue or?
It's not biting my tongue. It's just saying. I verbalize very quickly how I feel, and so whatever word comes to mind, it'll come out of my mouth. And unfortunately, in my current relationship that I'm in, my dude is not like that. You know, again, because of age difference, but also just because of who he is and his pride and his respect that he has for himself. You can't say certain things to him. It's just not okay. I had to make the mistake and see the fury behind it, and then go, oh shoot, take a step back and go, wait a minute, maybe I need to rethink that real quick because that didn't go over so smoothly. But understanding, I had to learn. Yes, I'm a black woman, but I had to learn the ideas and the thought process of a black man because I didn't know and I didn't really understand it. I never had to think of it in that, you know, in that capacity before because it wasn't what I was doing. It wasn't what I was used to. It wasn't what I had, you know, studied and knew. Now you ask me about an African, I know about that. I could do that with my eyes closed because I learned it. I know it. I've been there, done that. Having to really allow him to maneuver how he wants to maneuver according to his likes and his wants and be okay.
That's a fight for the independent woman. That's a fight.
It is, but I have to be okay with it and I have to trust that he's going to be able to do those things and that he doesn't need me to do it. But if he should fall, getting him to understand like, okay, you can do this by yourself, but in the event, if you fall, I'm going to be right here to cushion your fall. That's where the disconnect comes because for him the option is not to fall. I can't fall. That's my job to be up there and do what I need to do. So there's no cushion. There's not supposed to be a cushion. But to me in my head, we doing this together.
That's real.
You're not gonna build an empire by yourself. You're supposed to build an empire with me.
That's how it's supposed to be.
But I think what's important that you said was that you took the time to empathize with him and try to get an understanding. So a lot of women don't try to get no understanding.
They don't.
And y'all just stay on that wave until that just self-destruct.
Look at the pattern of what a person came, like we said earlier, like where a person came from, what they experienced, what they've been through. You don't know, like, you know, like when you rub shoulders with this man that you supposedly feel something for and he feels something for you, you gotta have that kind of understanding because, like I said, his experiences or whatever he's been through, it might be one thing that woman say to him that changed his whole outlook on things.
Well, I'm still trying to learn those keywords.
I'm there for a reason, you know what I'm saying? But I do got a question though. Do you feel like women, because I put this in my book, you know what I'm saying? Y'all check out my book. In a relationship, if a man ain't talking,
hold on. But y'all still talking to my woman about relationships. I'm not cool with that. It was disrespectful coming from her point of view. She should know better.